Hello, you fine inhabitants of Earth. It's your favorite shop-dwelling Sarah here with another truck review. Not just any truck. Today I got a 2022 Ford Raptor. Rawr. That was my... Never mind. Anyway, today I'm gonna get this thing up on the lift. We're gonna nerd out on the tech specs and see what the changes were for the all-new third generation in 2021, and then take this thing out in the desert for a yeet and see how it can do. This is mildly terrifying, having this big of a truck on this lift. This one is equipped with a tow package. It'll tow 7,500 pounds. The hitch itself says it's rated for 9,000 pounds. It's got black tips. Those are pretty big too. Beefy, 3-inch exhaust piping. It's got a full-size spare, the 37, and that's actually the same wheel. It's got a matching spare. I love that. Out back, the Raptor now has a 5-link rear suspension with a panhard bar, and these coil springs, I'm quite certain I could fit my torso through them. They're fucking huge. Ooh, they're rubber coated too. Interesting. And in front of there, that orange telephone pole is actually not a telephone pole. Holy shit. Yep, that's called a nope right there. That's a big nope. Oh my god, it's stuck into my smart water bottle. Are you serious? It's stuck into my smart water case when I bounced it off the ground. These are the Fox Live Link internally bypassed dampers. They're electronically controllable, and in the rear you have 13 inches of suspension travel. The Raptor still has the same electronic locking rear differential with some 410 gears and a sticker with a QR code that says frame. That is the beefiest looking exhaust hanger I have ever seen. That's a rather precarious looking bump stop. Squishy. And this interesting little contraption right here, I do believe is for the auto leveling headlights. The F-150 Raptor sits on a fully boxed frame. It has a drive shaft made out of aluminium that looks like it could be a WMD. Look at the girth of this drive shaft. And both the cab and the bed are also made out of aluminium, which means this truck weighs 5,697 pounds, which really isn't too bad for a truck of this size, especially when up all these off-road goodies under it. You know, I was always wondering why you didn't see more plastic skid plates on off-road vehicles, because that's what they do on ATVs and side-by-sides and stuff. It slides over the rocks a lot easier than metal does. May not be as durable. This exhaust system straight up looks like it's something that should be found on a spacecraft. That's insane. It's got an X pipe, and then that lower chamber right down there is for the active exhaust to make it a complete straight through muffler. Look, the muffler looks like a screaming bug with its eyes coming out of its head. This crazy water slide looking piece of pipe is the trumpet, and its sole purpose is to give this V6 an equal length exhaust between each bank of 3 cylinders. It is a piece of exhaust technology designed to irritate neighborhood Karens and Mr. Karens. What's a male Karen? A Care Bear stare. That's what I like to see, a removable transmission crossmember. The rear one behind the transfer case is not removable, but it doesn't really get in the way if you're gonna do any maintenance. And the transfer case itself, it is a mechanical lock with a 1-to-1 ratio in high and a 1.64-to-1 ratio in low. There's only one transmission available with the Raptor above this big steel skid plate, and that is the 10R80 10-speed automatic transmission. It was jointly developed between Ford and GM, and I actually like this transmission quite a bit. This one has paddle shifters on the back of the steering wheel. It has little blips on the downshifts, burbles and pops with that crazy exhaust. And if you ever were to dyno one of these trucks, I thought it was interesting to know that 7th gear is the one with the 1-to-1 ratio. Up front, the Raptor has a double wishbone front suspension, most of which is made out of aluminium, except for the upper wishbone, that one is steel. It has 14 inches of suspension travel, thanks to these Fox racing dampers. And what is that? Did someone run over milk? That's gross. Let me measure you real quick. 30mm front anti-sway bar. Clips not reusable. let's be honest, most of the time even the plastic ones aren't really that reusable. This crossmember is also removable. Same with the skid plate. It gives you tons of access to the steering components and the underside of the engine. Shouldn't be too difficult to work on underneath here. I love that it has amber daytime running lights in the front instead of white. And the 3 orange squares in the front of the grille, that's because this truck exceeds the width of a normal passenger vehicle. So it actually has to abide by commercial vehicle regulations for the marker lights. It also has quad rigid industry fog lights. This thing's huge. It's time for the braking test. Nobody behind me? Ready? Oh no. Wow, that's a really aggressive ABS system. Oh, it was making all kinds of weird robot noises. Not bad for how big this truck is. That braking was just accomplished with a set of 350 millimeter front rotors, or about 13.8 inches, and a beefy set of 2-pot front calipers. We're talking like Australian beer size pots on those front calipers. And the wheels, they're 17 by 8.5 forged beadlock capable. It means these are real bolts that go around the outside of the wheel. I don't even know if I was pointing at it. I hope I was. So you can actually bolt on a real beadlock on there. And this, however, is not real. I sat here like an idiot turning this thinking it was a manual lock-in hub until I realized it was just a center cap. And this one is equipped with the 37s package, which means it comes with a 37 by 1250 BF Goodrich all-terrain TA tire. Yeah, 37s. That's like what came on the original AM General Humvee. Out back, you have a 336 millimeter rear rotor, which is about 13.2 inches, and a big old single pot caliper. The wheel and tire is square stance to the front, which means it's the same size. This should have been a dead giveaway right here. Manual lock-in rear hubs? Yeah, okay, that makes sense. In the name of science, it is now time to give this thing the beans. Bolstering test. It doesn't really have much bolstering. These are comfortable seats though. They're ventilated and heated, and they are Recaros. I just noticed that the headrest has a little Bang & Olufsen logo on it too, so I'm guessing there's a speaker inside there. And they're finished in an absolutely gorgeous Rhapsody blue, like Bohemian Rhapsody. The whole interior is blue. I love that they're bringing back color interiors into vehicles instead of just black, gray, and beige. This truck's also equipped with an idiot anti-theft device. You just press this button and it hides the shift lever, so that way dumb people won't know how to steal your vehicle. As far as drive modes go, there is a knobbly on the dash right here that says drive mode. You can rotato-potato that, and you have slippery, tow haul, sport, normal, deep snow and sand, baja, and rock crawl. I'm gonna put it in sport, so I'm doing sport type activities. And I also have 2 high or 4 auto. To get the optimum launch, I'm gonna try 4 auto. Over here on my steering wheel, I have individual controls for your exhaust, how loud you want that to be. Then this is to adjust your dampening, and then also your steering response. And just because I'm ignorant like that, I'm gonna put my exhaust in Baja mode, because why not? I'll give this thing a little bit of assistance and see what it can do. Ready? Go. Ooh. Yeah. Yeah. This thing rips. It's so big you can feel it like lift up off the ground when you give it the beans. Yeah, this thing is no joke. It's quick. Ding, ding, ding. Pop. Oh, it shuts. Hooray. Why are you a different color under the hood? No, Ford. You better not jump on that bandwagon that I've seen a lot of other manufacturers doing lately of not painting everything consistently under the hood. It should be all Velocity blue under there with the clear coat. Anyway, powering this Raptor is the Delta 35 Generation 2 3.5 liter all aluminium EcoBoost twin turbo V6 that produces 450 horsepower at 6,000 RPM and a healthy 510 pound-feet of torque at 3,500 RPM. While there are a number of changes that occurred on the second generation of this 3.5 EcoBoost, one critical failure issue that was addressed was a bad batch of timing chain tensioners that the first generation engine had. Under higher mileage conditions, the chain would stretch and cause the engine to subsequently skip time. The second generation of this engine addressed that by doing a dual timing chain setup as well as a different tensioner. Now, the high output version of the 3.5 EcoBoost uses dual Bog-Warner turbos. It has both port and direct fuel injection, as well as a 10.5 to 1 compression ratio, and it's oversquared at 92.5 by 86.5 millimeter bore and stroke. There's no better way to test this truck than yeeting it down a desert road because it's a Raptor. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna put this thing in 4 auto, and then I'm going to put my mode into Baja. Oh, that automatically puts it in 4 high. Well, I guess that's what I'm gonna use then. Yeah, let's make some noises. This is lovely. This is so smooth. It's like driving on pavement. Oh man, it's been a couple years since the last time I drove a Raptor, so it's not fresh in my mind how that one was with the old suspension, but this is just delightful. Oh, this is awesome. I got a tiny bit of air, it felt like. It feels a little shifty on the sand. You can feel it kind of squirming around, but I mean, that's only when I'm giving it the beans a bit. This is lovely. It's like why you buy a big body luxury sedan to just kind of float down the road. That's what this does out in the desert. Just kind of floats down the road. Here's a big bump. See how this is. Barely even felt it. Oh, that was rough. And yeet. The only noise you hear in here is my camera equipment. I got a bunch of gear in here and it's rattling around. I haven't even smacked my head off the window or the B-pillar yet. That's a good sign. And send it. Oh man, this is great. Both this and the T-Rex are just super fun trucks. I'm not gonna try to sit here and pick apart which truck is better. They are both awesome trucks. I think this one's a little bit more livable on the street than the T-Rex is, and it costs quite a bit less, but the T-Rex is probably the one that you could send the hardest off-road. Although this is really comfortable though. Especially these Recaro seats. These Recaro seats are ridiculously comfortable. They're probably one of the most comfortable pickup truck seats I've ever sat in before. And I'm just gonna go up this hill, screw it. Whoa! This is awesome! The off-road camera already came up on the screen. I didn't do that, I just was there. And it's got little tire tracks and white lines showing me driving off the face of the earth. Press this button over here. Trail control. This enables your trail control, which is a one pedal mode, kind of like you have an electric vehicle. Oh, the trail control is crazy. It's so aggressive. It's meant for one pedal driving. I don't really care what line I take going down this. I don't think it really matters with this truck. Man, I like trail control better than hill descent control. It's really hard to modulate the throttle with it. That was no problem. I have almost 25 degrees of departure angle. It's 1 degree more with the 37-inch tires than if you just have the non-37s package. Okay, we're gonna do a hill climb test, but we're gonna go straight to the most challenging one because I don't think the usual hill will really do anything for this truck. Now I'm in rock crawl mode. It automatically gives me the one pedal driving. Oh, it took the exhaust out of the loud mode. I'm on it back in Baja. While it doesn't have an electronic locking front diff, it does have a torsion diff up in the front. Well, that's interesting. It puts the steering in comfort in rock crawl mode. All right, this thing's got 33 degrees of approach angle and 13.1 inches of ground clearance of these 37s. So this should be no problem at all. Whoa, let's see if I can avoid this tree. I did, I still was able to avoid the tree mostly as well. Oh man. This thing is a beast. Oh, there's a huge fly on the hood. You guys can't see that. There's one more test I want to try out, and that's this little spot over here. That's really good for trying out articulation and breakover. This thing's got a 24.9 degree breakover angle, and it's a longer wheelbase, so this could be challenging. Plus, it's got those running boards. So we'll see how it does. This thing doesn't have a locking front diff, like electronically locking like it does the rear, but it does have a torsion LSD in the front, which I'm also a huge fan of having a torsion LSD. Okay, here's a spot where those running boards, if they're gonna scrape, it's gonna be right here. No, we're good. We're good. This next spot though, really strong possibility it's gonna scrape running boards right here. This is brutal for longer wheelbases. I don't know if it'll do it. I'll go slow. I think it's gonna scrape. I think it's gonna scrape. No! Those 37s came in clutch. Woo! This is really nerve-wracking. I don't like this. It probably doesn't even look like much on the outside of the truck, but my hair is usually an indication of how steep something is. Okay, so here's the deal. This truck is $82,000. That's a lot, and it has two big packages added to it. The 801 package, which has a bunch of fancy bits on the interior. No way, shut up. My pedals are adjustable? They are. That's crazy. It's short people friendly. I don't have that problem, but that's still pretty cool. And the 37s package, which is just over $7,000 for the 37s. So I think you could save quite a bit of money by not adding those packages to this truck. Are they nice? Yes, they are. But I don't think it really needs that to make this truck as good as it is. On the road, this thing is super comfortable. It doesn't beat you up whatsoever. And off-road, it's the same. This is just a comfy ass truck through and through. The other thing I like about these Raptors is they seem to hold their value really well, because you think, oh, I'll just get one of these used. Good luck, because they've been out for quite a while now and they're still super expensive for a used Raptor. So that's another huge plus. The fuel economy is not great, but considering what this thing is, it could be worse. It's averaging a little over 15 miles per gallon since I've had it. That's not terrible for that's kind of a truck. It's not great, but maybe eventually they'll have a Raptor Lightning that's electric. I don't know why there's so much hate on this for having a V6. It kind of reminds me of a Detroit 6V92. Just that roaring sound. I think it sounds good. And it kind of is like nostalgia to the old F-150s that had the 300 inline six. I don't know. I'm not against the 6-cylinder in a full-size truck, especially if it just sounds cool and sounds different. You guys never seen one of my vehicle reviews before? I have multiple categories that are slightly ridiculous, starting with the bean score. Is assessment on a 1 to 5 scale based on the feeling you get behind your belly button when you give it the beans. And this Raptor right here is getting a rating of 2.1 beans. This thing right here, as they say, shits and gets. It's pretty quick, even though it's over 5,000 pounds. I'd like to see one with a tune, see how quick it is. Anyway, next is the cookie score. It's an assessment of what you get for what you spend. It's an assessment of value. And this one, with all the options added to it, bringing the price over $80,000, is getting a rating of 2.5 cookies. It's a lot of money, but it's a lot of truck here. And if you were to build something like this on your own out of like a used truck, it still wouldn't be cheap to put this kind of components on here. And then this thing has a warranty. It's an expensive truck though, nonetheless. Without all options added to it in the 60s, well, that's reasonable. Next is the meatball score. It is an assessment on a 1 to 5 scale on a truck's ability to tackle round, brownish things in the dirt off-road. And the 22 F-150 Raptor is getting a rating of 4.1 meatball. That's really all I gotta say about that. Did a good job. Next is the mechanic score. It's assessment on a 1 to 5 wrench scale based on how much of an ass pain something would be to work on. 5 being super easy, 1 being an abysmal piece of shit. And this Raptor is getting a rating of 2.5 wrenches. It doesn't look like it'd be too terrible to work on, especially because of the fact that it has the removable cross members underneath there, and looks like there was some thought process under the truck as far as maintenance goes. There's just a lot of components to this thing though, so I guess that's more on the technician being intelligent than it is the truck being difficult. Lastly is the penguin score. It's an assessment on a 1 to 5 penguin scale based on how much I personally like a vehicle, and the Raptor is getting a rating of 4.8 penguins. It's hard not to love this truck. It's not as crazy as the T-Rex, and I kind of like that about that it is not as crazy because it's more livable. It gets like double the fuel economy as a T-Rex. And it's just an all-around great truck to drive. It makes you want to do little bits of bad things, but not over the top. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this review, and I'll see you soon with another. Bye!